Hello crafty friends, it's Jess from jesscrafts.com, and today I wanted to share a video about how I store my standalone dies. My coordinating dies get stored with their stamp sets in my stamp storage area, and I put magnetic sheets on them. I do use very similar bags for both my stamp storage and my die storage. I know a lot of people use stamp pockets. I have done something else, in part because I started it before I knew about stamp pockets, but also because I found it to be a cheaper solution and one that worked better for me personally. So these are all of my standalone dies, and in the back I have my extra large stamp sets, and then behind that I have my stencils. So it's a little bit more than that, but this container that they are all in fits on top of my IKEA Raskog cart. The container itself was purchased at Walmart. I believe it's a Sterilite container. I will do my best to link it. It does have a top, and this would click on to hold the top in place, but I just took the top off because this particular basket was just the right size to slip into my Raskog, and I have another one that goes on the second shelf, so it doesn't only fit on the top, it also fits in the other ones. You can pull it up and slip it out. It's 14 inches long, about 10.5 inches wide, and about 6 inches high. So for me, that leaves me room to sort of rifle through because it's not too high. There's, and overall it just really worked out very well for me. I've been happy. I've been using this for a number of years. The dividers are something that I created. The dividers are 8.5 inches wide and then 9 inches tall. I found that this allowed the bags that I use to be kind of completely covered if they were right on top of each other. I didn't want the tops of the bags to be sticking out over them because then I felt like it would be hard to read the labels. I did use tabs for these, and I created my own categories of what worked well for me and the kind of dies that I had. Some categories can be a little bit difficult because I feel like sometimes something fits in more than one category, but I don't have so many dies that I can't find them. I created a blank one. So this is, the dividers are created with cardstock, just the simple white cardstock that I normally use, and them being 8.5 wide meant that I had very little waste when I trimmed the top off, and of course I could use those for something else, particularly like cutting out the little tabs, which was a die that I owned. And so I cut that out and I created a blank sheet to go at the front just to make things look a little bit neater and smoother as it sits out in the open in my crafting area. And I definitely prefer things to be really neat and closed away when possible, but having them out like this and being able to flip through them because they sit just off to the right of my desk, it allows me to really access my dies much more frequently. But this little blank divider keeps them quite neat. My dies are stored in zip top bags. A lot of them are stored in this 5-inch by 8-inch size, and that doesn't include the extra bit at the top, 5 by 8. When they say that measurement, it means the enclosed area. And they're from Plymor. I order them on Amazon. I actually link them in every video, but they will be linked in today's video, of course, as well. I get the 4mm. When I first started, I used to get the 2mm, but it was quite thin, and I did find that over a number of years it would break. And since I own many of my stamps and dies for years and years, and I am constantly taking them in and out and using them, I wanted to make sure that it held up well and I wouldn't have to keep replacing them. So I went with the 4mm size, and I've never had a bag break after that. I do use different sizes, and I do sometimes combine. So these are 2 different cloud dies from MFT, and I put them together. I'm using magnetic vent covers to get these magnetic sheets that go in the back. So they are something you can get at your hardware store, and you can also order them online. I also use the magnets that I get from like advertisers where they put their company name or something on a magnet because they hope you'll stick it on the fridge and then the next time you need that service. Or like my realtor sends me like a calendar for football and it has a magnet on the back. Well, I just take the magnet off and I use it for things like this. As you know, I like to use trash because I'm cheap. I try to label all of my dies unless there's some sort of label already on them. And I have smaller bags that are also Plymor, also 4mm thick. They're just different sizes. Then I take my label maker and I add it, and I try to keep the original backer sheet as often as possible. Plus, if I see that a die doesn't particularly need a magnet sheet, I try not to. Be like, this die, even if I were to cut these two apart, which I should probably use this die, Paper Smooches, unfortunately, is no longer. And so I'm sometimes trying to focus on sharing projects where you could actually still get the products that are used in it. But anyway, I don't need a magnet for this. It's just the two dies. They're not going to get lost. Whereas maybe a different set, there's a lot of little pieces. So a magnet is much more important. I picked my categories just again on the way that I think. I store my stamps by company, but to me it doesn't make sense for dies, and I don't remember dies the same way. Like if I think, oh, I want a dinosaur stamp, immediately in my head I see a picture of like a couple of different Lawn Fawn sets with dinosaurs, and then the Heffy Doodle stamps that I have with dinosaurs, and then, you know, whatever other companies, they all just like, I can see the image of the stamps in a way I just don't for dies. And then I always like to create a miscellaneous category because sometimes I'll figure out eventually where I think those things should go. But if I have a miscellaneous, it helps me to make sure that my dies get put away and filed. And then as I use them, I might realize, oh, I actually have a new category that I need, in which case I can make a new divider. And that's why I chose to laminate these instead of purchasing anything, because then I don't have to worry that the color that I chose, like, because some people use like plastic folders, I don't have to worry that I can't find that color anymore or pay an arm and a leg for that color. I just use white cardstock. If you have a particular color that's like your color or your craft room's color, you could easily do that instead. You could order a bunch of packs. If it's a specialty cardstock, like from a particular brand, I would consider ordering extra because, again, those retire. There's always going to be white cardstock, and I think it looks cleaner. As I mentioned, my extra large stamps also fit back here. I don't mind that they aren't filed in with my other stamps. I don't have a lot of them, and again, because there's, I think, maybe 6 or 7 of them, I know what they are. So if I'm looking for them, I know where to find them. All right, well, I think that's all I wanted to share about my die storage today. If you have any additional questions, please let me know in the comments, and also share with me like maybe what categories you like to use or how you like to organize your dies. I think that people will find it helpful to know other ways, and I'm always evolving how I store things to make sure it works with my workflow, so I love hearing other people's ideas. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're interested in more crafting tutorials, be sure to subscribe to my channel. I will leave you links to all of the products that I mentioned in the video description below. And thank you for taking the time to watch. Have an awesome day. Bye.